Hey everyone, especially for you beginners or people getting on and off the kind of keto bandwagon. The hardest thing about keto is it's really hard to avoid carbs. I mean, we all love them in some form. And, maybe it's corn or potatoes, fruit. Maybe you really miss bread and pasta. There's different things that we've been accustomed to growing up our whole lives. I mean, I remember most of you guys, and myself included, how we're rewarded even growing up learning to go to the bathroom. We usually reward kids with candy. I know that I got some candy, and my mom also was good about not getting us too much sugar, and I didn't really like candy at the time. So we did get a lot of gifts and toys. But I remember, doing good on papers, different things like that. We would go get ice cream and all these other things, or a pizza reward. We would go to McDonald's. So we're hardwired to want those things. Or when we're doing good, it gives us comfort. It makes us feel good. It makes us feel safe. It makes us feel rewarded to get to eat those things. And for some people, when you're denying that, you're not denying the food. It feels more like you're denying emotion. And I think that little tidbit is going to click home for you, that it's more about emotional, especially I think more so for women. Women are about connection between women, food, relationships. That's where women are geared toward, and men are more physical, women are more emotional. It's about feeling. It's how I feel inside. Not about what you want, it's feeling. And missing those carbs can feel like there is a gap in your life. So I want to address a couple things today. First, we're going to talk about kind of macros, how to figure out your macros, just kind of how I did it type of thing. And then I'm going to talk a little bit about going in and out of ketosis, if that's even okay. And, some of you are thinking, do I want to do keto for the rest of my life? Do I have to eat this way forever? And the thing is, no, you don't. You can, but we're going to discuss that and talk about it together. So first of all, for macros for keto, I really feel where are you more going to overeat is what I looked at it. When I first started, I kind of just ate. And what I found it was really hard to overeat on? Protein. I could eat quite a few vegetables, but you're probably not going to overeat that either. It was easy to overeat fat because it's harder to measure and it's such a dense amount of energy. Not that that's not good. That's why we like a keto diet. But we have to explain what it is, what's going on, why. And sugars and carbs, it's usually processed and carbs. That's where people tend to overeat. And things that are high in fat as well. Usually the more healthy fats that people get more intrigued in. So knowing this, I decided for me that I probably was never going to overeat protein, but I feel really, really full when I eat protein. So my goal was to eat protein, but your body kind of gets this natural shut-off mechanism. I didn't really think about how much I wanted or didn't want. It just usually happened anywhere between 4 to 8 ounces. My body would eat it and think, no, I'm done, I'm good. And then if I mixed in some healthy fats in there just to help give that full satisfaction and balance my blood sugar, that's what I think in my mind. Okay, I need fat because I need to balance my blood sugar and I need to not crash. I need this, it's like a carrier. It carries you through to the next meal. So you need the fat, you need the protein to feel full, the fiber for digestion, and for the end of that fullness, for the bulk of the protein that makes you still feel like I could eat a little bit more. Lettuce and pretty much different things like that stop you from that overeating because you're filling your gut with volume. It's also a volume food. So I think about it in times I'm hungry, but I've had more calories. I'm going to pack in a little bit more on the vegetables. That's just what I think. That works for me. That's the only thing I did to gauge what I needed for my body. And then I would do a week and I'd try to add nut butters in, and then I'd find myself getting out of control. So I said, okay, that's got to go. I was doing dairy and I wasn't feeling as good. Like I didn't feel the same way. I'd feel a little bit more tired. I just felt a little dried out. Took the cheese back out. I felt fine. Then I tried adding a little butter or cream the next week, just like one day at a time. And I'd find that I could either do that 2 or 3 days, but if I did too much, I literally just really tried to be more intuitive of listening to my body and it telling me what I could do. I did the same thing with carbs. For several weeks, I did 20-30, for about 2 months straight. Then after that, I thought, I wonder if I could even do like 1 day of heavier carbs, because I wanted like a sweet potato, or I was going to make like a keto treat, something like that, where I really wasn't going to fall within my macros that day for what I was thinking for carbs. That's the only thing I really kept track of, was my carbs. And I'd find that it actually picked me up or gave me a little bit of energy, or that I would coast through that through the whole week. And yes, when your body's creating ketones, a lot of doctors think that your body is still in ketosis, that you can burn up those carbohydrates because you're not giving your body any. So when you have a little extra glucose, you can burn it. Now, that doesn't mean you can go overboard and eat pasta and bread and pizza. You still eat like that, you're going to gain weight. But that's not saying that you couldn't do a sweet potato that day, or you can't add in a piece of fruit. Something that is still healthy, something still within your range, or maybe if you're really missing rice or corn, that might be the day to do it. And a lot of guys can actually get away with eating a lot more carbohydrate. And actually, if you follow the bulletproof diet, he mentions that a lot of times he talks about doing sweet potatoes or higher carbohydrate at night, but doing a lot of the easier grains, but trying to avoid the grains if all possible. More like sweet potato, some fruits and some vegetables, having some carbs at night or first thing in the morning, and that's okay. So that's how I gauged my macros. I just listened to my body. The days I had quite a bit of protein, where I ate protein for breakfast, lunch, and dinner, I noticeably felt like I had more energy. I would notice when I played volleyball, I felt like I could go longer. The days I had more fat, I felt a lot more lethargic. I felt like I was a little more tired, a little bit more slow. So days I just ate like an avocado for breakfast versus eating a couple eggs or some smoked salmon or even a protein shake. Yes, I do that on occasion. I felt better. And when I do my protein shakes, I actually add coconut oil to it as well. Just so you know, keep that in mind. And then for lunch, I would do chicken. I really usually want chicken for lunch. It's light, it sounds good. So I usually do like a chicken and some kind of lettuce. And then for dinner, that's when I kind of listen to my body. Do I want steak? Do I want chicken? What do I want? And I cook it. Pretty simple. So that's kind of how I gauged that. And that's all I really did. And then if I wanted a dessert, I absolutely always do that. Sometimes it's a small piece of chocolate. I don't get out of hand with chocolate, so that's fine for me. I will eat like one little square of chocolate and I'm good. It's not something I overeat on or binge on. So chocolate's fine for me. Or I'll do a hard-boiled egg. I don't mind that. Sometimes I make a mug cake, but when I do that, I tend to want mug cakes every night, so I try to just be careful with that stuff for myself. I think they're great. I'm just careful. Now, the other thing I really want to get into, because this is studies, is that I think a lot of times people in the keto lifestyle, they think you're only keto if you're eating 20 to 30 grams of carbs all the time, year round. But the thing is, just like fruits and vegetables, they come in seasons. I think our body was meant to go in seasons as well. So don't fret if you're a person who's thinking it's summer and I love watermelon and cherries and whatever. That's great. I think you should get to eat some of those things. But the thing is, there's a time and a place for everything. Do you need to eat them every single day? Maybe not. Are you trying to lose weight and it could throw you off? Maybe you could skip it this one summer. it all comes down to you. If you're a person who thinks, I don't want to eat keto for the rest of my life, or I'd like to do low carb, this is an option for you. So there's even carb cycling, or some different doctors that think that you can be in ketosis and you can eat one day out of ketosis and you will still be in ketosis the next day. So there's different theories on this, and there's doctors that are proving that you can actually have ketotic effects basically without even being in ketosis, that actually just being low carb is really healthy for your body. And we don't understand all the parts of ketogenic anyways. So I think if you look at the end of time and you found out that keto was absolutely a horrible diet, would you be happy that you did it the way you did it? Yes or no? Easy. If you thought, no, I really would have liked to have had fruit then if I found out keto wasn't good. Well, then that tells you something. And I don't think fruits are necessarily bad. I do think that they're too abundant and we overeat them, and they're too big. A lot of other things like that. A lot of times they're not organic. They don't have the vitamins and minerals that they normally do. So if you want to go in and out of ketosis, I don't see a problem with that. Doesn't mean that you want to. I mean, if you look a lot of other diets, Atkins, South Beach, a lot of these are even low carb, paleo. You can get great benefits from all of these things. And it's not to say that any one thing is right or wrong. We really try and point fingers at each other. And I think it's just a waste of time, quite honestly. I think every person can decide for themselves and be a little bit different. So if the summer you're out moving a lot, that's why I believe God created fruit for us, is because we're moving, we're running, we're being active. I think it's fine to eat a little bit more carbs. You're probably going to burn them. I don't think that you should eat fruit all the time, or, we've said 2 to 3 servings a day. I think maybe 1 serving a day is maybe even fine, or once a week. Save up, eat that watermelon that you wanted, have that apple, whatever it was, eat a little bit of it, but just don't go crazy. And that's an okay thing. If you want to do that, I think that's okay. Or like a sweet potato, maybe even a piece of corn. You have to decide for yourself what you're willing to do, what you're not willing to do. And some of you, keto's maybe what you need to do for the rest of your life and never get out of it because you're too swayed one way or another, or you just feel the best this way. And yeah, listen to yourself. It's just fine to stay keto forever. You don't ever have to get off. But for those of you who don't always want to eat keto, you don't have to. You can move in seasons. And I think that's how our bodies were meant to be. If you follow the seasons, the things that were there for us were the fruits, high energy right away, because we were running, walking, moving, hiking, biking. We're doing all that stuff. Fall, we start to fall out of it. It's more berries and things again. It's the squashes. That's where we have. It's starchy, but not that starchy. Winter, there's next to nothing. And that's when I believe our body should be more keto, is through the winter, is that we're doing fat and protein almost consistently, because you couldn't get fresh fruits. You couldn't get vegetables. You had meat and you had protein, So that's more of what we had. You had some grains and stuff stored up, but those were like filler. That was, you needed to live, and so you needed proteins and fats. And then like days it was lean and stuff. That's why they added carbohydrate into that, because you had to have something and you needed energy. So with that being said, I think keto can be a real seasonal thing. I think you can do it, in different waves. I try and eat keto most all the time, but I am not afraid of eating a piece of fruit. I'm not afraid of eating a piece of sweet potato. I do believe God put those things on this earth for a reason, and that everything is okay. It's not necessarily bad, but do you need it all the time? Just same thing. Like, you can't overeat anything. Too much of anything is not good. It becomes a bad thing. Being active is good, but if you never stop and take time, or take care of your body, I think that's where I feel guided in other parts of my life, is God has showed me when I've been in balance and out of balance. If you feel out of balance, there's your sign. If you feel balanced, there's your sign. You know by how you feel if you're eating keto all the time and you just feel absolutely frustrated because you're watching your family enjoy some fruits over the summertime, but you're not eating pizza, you're not drinking pop, you're not indulging in the sugary treats that they're doing. I think you can have a piece of citrus here and there. I'm not thinking that's a horrible thing to do. Your diet shouldn't be a bad thing. It should make you feel alive. And although it can be somewhat structured, it should never be rigid. You know what I mean? Like structured as in, I would love to eat that cake, but I know that's not going to get me where I want to be in the long run. I know where my body is, but not overly disciplined to where you're like, no, I'm never going to touch any of this stuff and it's horrible. And if it's not keto, I'm not ever eating it. And feeling like you never get to be a normal person like everyone else, or that you're calculating everything. That's not healthy either. So I hope that helps you guys. Like, share, comment below.